What's good, family? It's your girl Wisdom, and we are back with another episode. I hope you guys have been doing well since our last one. I feel like I'm always saying this. But I get so excited about episodes now because it's just me creating from a wholesome place and me just creating because I'm just like, I just want to do it. And I feel like the collective needs it. And so, yeah. On this episode, we are talking about how to trust your instincts as an artist. So this episode came to me as I was painting a commission for a client, and I'm still finishing up like the last little touches. I'm like super excited. I have been working on this commission for a hot little minute, just kind of like gearing the ways through. I know I've been mentioning just having more commissions. I recently just finished our last one, so if you have not seen it, make sure you go check it out. I made like insert a little video right here, that way you can see it. But yeah, and moving from the last piece I just created, I am transitioning to the frequency of a new client. And so I was trying to figure out, okay, how can I be able to take all the ideas that they want and be able to put that into one piece, right? And how can I still make sure it's an embodiment of me, right? As an extension of myself within the piece, but also still create the movement and the frequency and just all these things that they were asking for, right? So I created One Piece. I love that show. But anyway, I created One Piece, the first piece. And at first it turned out like with two lovers. And I was like, ooh, okay. He says 70s vibe. I think we're gonna go for this one. And then after like a certain part, because usually when I get to certain parts of my pieces, I'll hit a portion where I know where to stop, because some other elements are supposed to develop over time. Like I'm supposed to just go through life and those elements are supposed to develop over time. And then I was like, this piece is not it. It may be for somebody else, because sometimes I do that too. Like I'll end up creating pieces and then once I actually finish it, it'll be for somebody else, And then I created another piece and then I was like, this one's cute too. And each of the pieces, mind you, they had, confirmation burp, I guess. In each of these pieces that I was creating, I was basically trying to capture the elements that the client was asking for. If they mention a specific element here, I added that more in this particular piece. Or if they mention a specific element here, I added more in this specific piece. So I was kind of just sitting with pieces and I was like, okay, I know I'm getting close, but like this piece isn't it. And then I did this like third piece, and it was a flow piece. And it was kind of like a pouring piece. And then I like go in and I'll show y'all this one. Because this one's really cute. I feel like this goes to somebody else. So whenever I like make her beautified, I will let y'all know. I'll put it on the website and make this one for sale. So if you want it, you can come get it. And it like goes different ways. Like, look at that. It's so, just look how cute it is. It's so cute. It's so freaking cute. But yes, I love this piece. And it's just so detailed. Like, look at how cool. Ugh, I love it. And the thing about it was, I was like, I don't want to change her. Like, I don't want to cover her up because I feel like now this goes to somebody else. But I also felt like this wasn't the piece that the client was looking for. And I was like, and at that time, I had to trust myself and be okay with starting over. One thing that I learned when I took graphic design in high school was never marry a font. And the teacher that I had, she was a great teacher. Shout out to Miss Priestmeyer. I love her. That quote sticks with me anytime that I need it when it comes down to being okay with change. And that's essentially how I took it. Like, it's in the beginning stages of your work, or when you're in the process of working, make sure that you're okay with changing your work. Like, be okay with how things shift, and trusting yourself that this shift is going to make this piece 10 times better, or make your graphics 10 times better. And so that's kind of what I did. Like, and I was like, it was one of those things where I was like, I need to finish this piece so I can get it to this client. And that's just me. Like, because I'm an artist, I'm a perfectionist at sometimes, and I'm like, well, I need to get this done. I want to get it done. And I don't want them to have to wait any longer, right? And that's just like the pressure that I put on myself of like, okay, this is my timeline just to get it done, right? Which technically I don't have one, but still, just me, you know. I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I do. I have to have a timeline for something. But just trying not to critique myself or criticize myself for, one, being like, well, this piece should already be done. Or just do this, just take the piece that you already did, even though that you're not 100% sure about this piece. And I'm like, no. And mind y'all, that's like the ego. We talked about the ego last time, right? And I'm like, I would be doing myself a disservice if I chose to use this piece as one to give to the artist, if I intuitively did not feel this was the right piece for them, for the client. And I was like, start over. If that's how you feel, start over. And that's essentially what I did, just completely starting over. And I say all this to say, this is, y'all know I gotta give y'all a story time, because every time I have a little story time, I got the message. Okay, y'all need an example before we get into the actual message. It wasn't until I got up the next day and I kind of just like stared at a blank canvas, and then I stared at the piece that I already had, and I was just like, I know I'm close. I know I got this, right? But I'm like, I'm not there yet. And I'm like, I feel like there's specific elements that should be in this piece that I know that this client is gonna want. And I wanna make sure I do this to the best of my ability as an artist, right? And I was like, okay, so let's hunker down. I woke up at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I sat on my floor. And if y'all see me looking down, it's just because the piece is drying. I'm like looking at it. And I am just so happy with it. Like, it looks so good. And I ended up using a different technique for this piece as well too, which I am super duper excited about as well. I spent about roughly 2 to 3 hours just working on the piece and just providing like different details, different techniques. And when I say I watched that process video back, I'm like, oh my God, I am so glad I started over. Like, fresh new canvas. I am so happy I started over. Because now I actually feel like this piece is exactly what they're looking for and more. They're gonna be like, wait a minute, I didn't know she was gonna do that. And I'll be like, I didn't know I was gonna do it either, but I did though. So through this episode, I just want to talk about how important it is just to trust your inner guidance, and to the key to just following your inner guidance, following yourself, and trusting where you're supposed to be led, whether this is in life or whether this is through your artwork. When you sit there and deprive yourself of not following your instinct, you're doing yourself a disservice. So just think about, like, if I didn't choose to start over because I'm like, well, I'm on a time crunch and the what ifs, right? I'm thinking about all these things, and yet I know intuitively, like, this is not the right thing for me to do. Like, this is not the right route. I know I'm close, but I'm not there yet. And you have to be able to respect that space for what it is, because it's trying to tell you something. And by you thinking of all the what ifs, or what if it's not good, or what if this doesn't turn out the way that I want to, that is essentially us trying to have control over the process and the outcome of what our projects or process is supposed to look like. And when we are trying to have control like that, that's just letting us know that we ain't got no faith, that we're not trusting ourselves, whether you believe in God, Allah, the universe, whatever you want to call it, and just trusting in your workflow. It is so important as artists that we trust the ways in which that we work. So even for me, I know, like, sometimes, depending on what it is, it may take me a few different pieces in order to get that right one, because I'm building up to whatever idea or theme that I'm trying to create within a work. Or sometimes it may take me really fast, but then I got to be patient with the piece and making sure that it develops over time, especially for my pieces that are very layered. I have to let those pieces sit a little bit longer before I can come back and add other things, especially if they're really detailed and have a lot going on. Y'all see me. It's a lot going on, but it's pretty. Okay, and that stuff takes time. You have to have patience with that. So if you're an artist right now, and you're just embarking on your journey, or you are OG, you advanced, intermediate, wherever you are in your practice, I feel like it's definitely important to remember trusting in yourself. Because as you trust in your own workflow or artistic flow, you can trust yourself in different rooms. And I'm referring this to, so when you are invited to do a gallery show and they have a certain theme and they want you to create multiple different pieces, right? And you're like, well, that's kind of not in my line of work. You're not forcing yourself to do something outside of yourself that's like completely, completely distant, but you're not afraid of a challenge though, right? So there's a difference between challenging yourself in a different way and completely being like, you want me to do what? That ain't even what my artwork looks like. I think you need to find a different artist for that, if that's exactly what you're looking for. So in the future, if you are somebody that's looking to get your artwork in like galleries or, exhibitions or museums or anything like that, and you get the opportunity to create work for somebody, or you're even just creating commissions for somebody for the first time, trust in your instincts. Be okay with saying no. Be okay with starting over. Be okay with being adaptable. Okay? If you cannot make a shift or a change, or you're afraid to be adaptable in your own creative space, baby, you gonna struggle. You gonna struggle. You gotta release the control. You being too restrictive. You're resisting you. You're resisting what your soul is calling you to do. If you're trying to control the narrative of how something is supposed to look and how long it's supposed to take and the reason why it needs to take this long, like, don't control it. Let it flow. Allow it to be what it needs to be and just go. That's it. And if you need to make changes after the fact, make those changes and pace yourself. And think about it this way. If you're spending more time thinking about all the what ifs and what could go wrong, you could be spending all of that time actually starting over or changing what you need to change. Do it right then and there, and then just get it done with, as opposed to thinking all these different self-sabotaging ways of why everything could just go to squilly that, And that's sometimes how the mind can like treat us at times. And we have to have a conversation with ourselves and be able to be like, hey, I got this. Let me work my magic. Let me cook. All right. And then when we gotta do those little details and we gotta get particular about certain stuff, then we can do that. But for right now, we flowing. And we're gonna allow this flow to introduce new ideas to ourselves. We're gonna allow this flow to help us learn more about ourselves. We're gonna allow this flow to take us on a journey, okay, that we didn't expect to go on. As artists, you have to be okay with starting over. You have to be okay with being adaptable. You have to be okay with making changes. And you have to be okay with your process not going exactly the way that you plan. If you have an expectation going into your painting and you're not allowing for things to be moved in different pieces in different ways, then you restrict yourself before you even start the project. Like you don't, the foundation for you starting this new project does not help you. And now mind you, did I know going into this specific commission that I was gonna do like 4 or 5 different rough drafts? No. But what did I get out of that? I created 2 different pieces that now I can sell, right? And then I can create an episode, right? I'm now creating an episode out of my own experience. But then also too, I created a new confidence and awareness within myself of like, I could trust myself enough to know that if I need to start over, I can start over. And it's always going to turn out the way that it's supposed to turn out. And I don't have to overthink it. I could just do it and just allow it to be what it needs to be. One thing that I learned just throughout this process is, number one, shout out to Kino for this one. So if y'all follow Kino Terra, I love her. Make sure y'all follow her on YouTube. Is to surrender to your soul. When your soul is calling for something, so even if it's not even the art practice, or you're starting on a new venture right now, because I know some of y'all are, if you're starting on a new venture right now and you know you need to take action towards it, surrender to it, surrender to starting, surrender to initiating the action of that manifestation that you've been like, oh, I want to do this and do this. I'm manifesting, but you ain't putting no action towards it. Surrender to what your soul is calling you to do. Surrender to the needs of your soul. Because if you don't, you're going to resent yourself, number one, right? And then number two, you're going to deprive yourself of not being able to feel yourself on an emotional and spiritual level. And that can make you feel like you are lacking, or it can also make you feel like you're being complacent, or that you're stuck within your practice or whatever it is that you're trying to do because you haven't taken action towards the thing that you want to do. Keep in mind that when you are following your own needs and you're following your flow, that is you remaining authentic to yourself. Trusting your instincts is you being authentic to you. And you have to continue to do that because that only wards better outcomes when you're working on your projects. That only allows a faster process when you are working on your projects. And trusting yourself enough like, oh, okay, right now I need to take a step back from this piece because I'm overthinking too much. I'm overanalyzing it. And I can trust the process of knowing that going through my day-to-day life, that idea or that initiative or that spark is going to show up somewhere, and then I can get back to it when the time is right to get back to it. So our takeaways this episode are making sure that you just trust yourself. Trust the process. Trust in how you create. Trust that your ideas are going to show up when they need to. And to trust that starting over does not mean that you have made a mistake. Starting over just means that you have something else in the gas tank that needs to be expressed in a different way, and for you just to push yourself in a different way. Our next takeaway is just release the expectation of what you feel the process of your artwork should look like. So for some of us, we feel like, oh, like I'm new to this, what is it? For some of us, we feel like, oh, I'm true to this, not new to this. And it's like, be a student of your own art. Be a student of a new technique that you're developing on, because each time you do it, you get better at it. And also just release the expectation of what the end result should be. There are many times when I am working on my pieces and I have a certain idea for what I want the piece to go for, and it never looks like what I actually imagine. I may do a sketch and I'll be like, okay, this is the idea. This is the route that I want to go, but I am open to receiving how the journey decides to shift. And you have to be open to that, because if you don't release those expectations, you're gonna place these unrealistic expectations on yourself, and it'll make you feel like you're not doing enough, and it'll make you feel like you are not completing the task that you want to complete as an artist. And also too, this can take away from your creativity as well. So having a high expectation or saying this is the only way I'm going to accept my piece to look like will take away from your creative process, and it'll make you feel like your artwork is a burden. And I don't want y'all to feel like that, all right? Our next one is just to not spend so much time on the what ifs, the hows, the whens, and when I'm gonna finish, or how is this gonna look like, if the client is gonna like it, da-da-da-da. If somebody's ordering a piece from you and you're remaining as true and authentic to yourself, they're gonna like it. They're gonna like it. It's fine. And if they want to make alterations or if they want to change a few things, be open to that change. Okay. Now, if you have your own way of doing things when it comes to commissions, take this as it resonates. But yes, just don't be afraid of that. All right. Allow stuff to change. And then our last one is just allow your ideas and the narrative of your projects to tell their own story. Because at the end of the day, you are getting to know your piece and the type of story that your piece is trying to develop. And a lot of the times, because I'm creating intuitively, a lot of the times I'm kind of just working, just in a flow. And then I realized, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. This kind of looks like a cloud, or like, this kind of looks like koi fish going around with each other, or like, oh, wait a minute. This looks like this. And you have to be open to whatever story your piece is going to tell you. And it's okay to not have all the information or to have everything put together before you are starting your piece. And just be adaptable. If you have a new element that you feel like is gonna go great with that piece, find a different way to try to incorporate it. And if you need to start over, start over. All right, start over. So if you have made it to the end of this video, I want to say thank you. I appreciate you for being here. I hope my messages have been useful for you today. Our affirmation for this episode is you can trust in you always. And that print will be available once this episode goes up. That way, if you want to purchase one for yourself and you want to hang it up in your little studio or your office or in your bedroom, wherever you want it, you can hang it up. I'll have different sizes available for y'all, and the digital print will be some of my own artwork as well. So feel free to go look and check it out. I also do have other prints up there as well from like previous collections. So feel free to check those out. And as always, if you are interested in one-on-one sessions with me, or you're interested in spiritual work and you want to get a session with me as well, you are more than welcome to book an appointment with me. All of that can be found in the description box as well. So yeah, I hope to see y'all on the next episode. I appreciate you for being here. And until next time, I will see y'all soon. Bye.